Thank you, Chairwoman Mace and Ranking Member Connolly, for allowing me to wade into the hearing and speak on an issue that has plagued my district and the United States at large. The problem is clear. The People's Republic of China has unabashedly conducted cyber warfare against the United States for over a decade. The PRC uses proxy groups like Vote Typhoon to step attribution for these cyber attacks. As a veteran, I can personally say that divesting cyber attacks on the Office of Personal Management in 2015 was a cyber wake-up call. While many cyber attacks target our federal government, Chinese hackers' indifference towards targeting civilians is apparent. Chinese leadership, or their proxies, has continued to demonstrate a lack of concern toward attacking civilian infrastructures. Regardless of source, the blatant disregard, even to the extent of launching cyber attacks during an active Category 5 typhoon on Guam. Shutting down Guam's communications while extreme weather destroys billions of dollars worth of homes, businesses, and community facilities is simply inexcusable. So my question, Mr. Evelina, cyber represents a facet of Chinese gray zone warfare that the U.S. has struggled to contend with. Part of this problem stems from using cyber contractors to circumvent the Chinese Communist Party attributions for these attacks. With those companies in mind, could you recommend steps that the U.S. should take to properly distinguish who attacks us?
Congressman Moylan, thank you for the question, and thank you for your support and efforts in Guam and in the Pacific for us competing with our major adversary there. To answer your question, sir, I think first thing has to happen, we have to be more aggressive as a country, as an administration, working in partnership with Mandiant and others to attribute these criminal entities as what they are. They're proxies for a state-sponsored organization that we know as the Communist Party of China. China actors who are in the Ministry of State Security or the People's Liberation Army oftentimes work part-time jobs in these cyber organizations and do the bidding of the Communist Party of China, and oftentimes are utilized to do 0 days and other cyber activities to obfuscate attribution by the Communist Party of China. I think we have to get more aggressive as a country in attributing those entities as what they are, long arms of the Communist Party of China.
Thank you. Mr. Joyce, with the limited cyber personnel already, Guam cyber infrastructure suffers from deterioration and lack of funding, leaving civilian and military assets vulnerable to cyber attacks, while with Guam being one of the closest U.S. territories to China. What policy advice would you give the President, the Governor, or even myself to solve Guam's cyber insecurity?
Thank you, Congressman, for your question. I think the most important thing is we have to have the awareness and the priority on this crisis to give them the resources to get rid of old, outdated, and insecure hardware. A lot of the tactics used in the attacks are finding flaws that could have and should have been patched in old and obsolete equipment. So if you can get the budgets for the infrastructure so that they will have cyber-capable training, so that they will get rid of their old and antiquated technology, and that they have the resources to get the support of the private industry with the expertise, I think we can make a lot of headway on this problem.
Perfect. Final question. We've got about a minute for both of you, please. China's using the national cyber power to harass districts and state-level actors. Could the panel briefly explain the necessity of developing federal, state, or local cyber defense and responses?
Thank you, Congressman. I'll start. I think the state and local and tribal cyber capabilities are the weakest point for our nation. I think the Chinese Communist Party exploits that, especially at the county level. We see that throughout not only ransomware attacks, but also, as we'll start to see, in election infrastructure. It's the weakest level. And oftentimes, states throughout the United States don't have the money to invest and to replace the legacy hardware that Mr. Joyce talked about. I think that's going to be the first thing to do, is to pay for that legacy information to be utilities to be removed.
Mr. Joyce?
I think it's got to be a close collaboration between the private sector and the state, local, and tribal entities. They are often resource and expertise poor, right? Someone going to school with a cybersecurity degree, they're not excited to go into the local water utility and be their CISO. So we've got to then augment them with private industry and technology so that they can have top-notch security.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the panel. Thank you, Chairwoman Mace. Thank you.